Sierra has all the best active and outdoor brands you need. From athletic stuff, like a full court pickup game, swish, to athlete-ish stuff, like a half-mile stroll. Get those steps in. And for morning hikes up the mountain trail, good pace. To nighttime ghost stories from the camping chair. What a twist. Whatever level of active, Sierra loves it all. Head to Sierra or Sierra.com for the brands you want at the prices that let you do it all. From athletic to athlete-ish, Sierra's got it.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
The show that asks the questions other shows are afraid to ask. The Last Show with David Cooper.
1984, a dystopian reality in a book. Cameras everywhere, AI scanning your inbox, drones writing you a traffic ticket, deepfakes rewriting reality. The problem is, the question isn't, are we in this time? We are. It's not even a debate anymore. It's more like, how do we deal with it? How do we know what's happening? And how can you make a choice to not engage with some of these platforms that spy on you? Well, that is exactly what Valerie Fortney recently wrote about in the National Post. There's an article called "It's the End of Personal Privacy. There's Nowhere to Hide Anymore." I'm here with Valerie to discuss just this. Valerie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David.
So where do we start? Like, how bad have things gotten while we weren't paying attention? I feel like this debate was in the media 10 years ago, and there was some ability to like affect change or make choices not to be spied on. Now, basically, if you leave your house and you have a cell phone, there is no choice.
Yeah, I think most of us treat it like the doomsday clock. Like we've heard about this doomsday clock. Every once in a while it comes into the news, but nobody wants, we feel powerless to do anything about it. So nobody wants to pay attention, right? So when I set out to do this article, there was, there's always like every day there's something new in the news, when facial recognition, the ICE guys, the Border Patrol, Facebook coming up with some new thing to know where we are at all times. So what I set out to do was kind of a comprehensive look at and bring it all together. And I would say it's pretty terrifying when you see it all in one place.
If we look at kids graduating now from high school, from university, from college, I was just reflecting on how my mom, when she renovated, she threw out all my high school yearbooks. Thanks, Mom.
Oh.
And just thinking how these photos are lost, I guess short of me reaching out to my old classmates. But like, my childhood wasn't documented online. I'm 39. I'm basically like at the cusp. For kids who are sort of crossing that threshold, every photo, every post, every communication, every public statement, every yearbook, it's all digitized. And with AI scanners, it's all searchable. Old photos, if you upload a face, there's platforms to match faces and search the whole internet for them. Authorities have even better versions of these platforms. What do we make of kids who basically had no privacy from the very start?
There's no other generation like it. Like for myself, date myself, but I was a kid of the late 70s and 80s, and I think about some of my escapades that if people knew about them now, and this stuff lives.
Should we change this whole interview to your escapades? I mean, that's a tangent I want to go down.
But you just think of the crazy things you did and the crazy opinions you would have had before you were fully formed human, and your cerebral cortex was, firing on all cylinders. These kids today, they have to live with that. And I think their parents weren't aware of, the whole concept of sharenting, we call it, when parents shared way too much about their children and their children's faces and everything about them. That these kids are their whole lives, we know so much about them. And if we didn't, that's an interesting point. If we didn't, and you were a prospective employer going on to check all their social media, who are their friends, what are their friends are like, what all this stuff, if nothing existed, there would be deep suspicion that you were either a very strange person or you did a really good job of scrubbing some questionable things about yourself.
Now, would we have been having the same debate on the radio in the late 40s and early 50s about like the Polaroid camera? Like, is this just a cycle of us sort of like looking at new technology and saying, what about privacy? And it's the same as it was always? Or is there something fundamentally different about times now? Side note, I believe there is something fundamentally different, but I'm asking the question.
I think today it's just exponential. It's they can come at you. I mean, what do we have? 12 million CCTV cameras in this country, which is an explosion over just 10 years ago. There's 30 million cell phones with video and camera capabilities. We've got Ring doorbells on everything. You can't, if you want, one of my experts said to me, you can't go out in public. They say, how do you avoid this? Well, you'd have to stay inside and never join the world to escape this.
Now, governments say they need to surveil us for safety. Companies say they need to surveil us so that they can advertise to us better and make more money. Where does it end? Like, is the government's concern for safety a shield for just invading our privacy? Are companies' concerns to like advertise to us better and serve us better content just a cover for surveilling us? Like, where does this stuff end? No one's stopping these entities from collecting data.
Yeah, and in Canada, the privacy groups are really a piecemeal process, and we don't have one very strong entity to protect our privacy. And you look in the United States, the last time they actually passed a consumer privacy protection law was in the 1980s. And there is no regulation of these guys. And when it comes to, you have to keep in mind when you're on social media now today, it's all about monetization. You are the product. You are the, some of the experts say the only areas where we call customers users are with drugs and with social media. And yeah, so their job is to just keep you addicted and keep you online, and these algorithms going, that now these things that were supposed to be built up to be nice ways of us to connect with others is just ways for us to be stuck on our phones or our laptops all the time.
In the US, like you say, privacy laws written in the 80s supposed to be applicable today. That's like trying to regulate a sports car on the road with laws meant for horse-drawn carriages. Like, legislators need to catch up.
Exactly.
Now, there's kind of like a paradox of cameras in everyone's pocket because they can be used to hold truth to power, right? Like documenting police abuse, documenting government abuse. In some sense, having a phone in everyone's pocket is a good thing because power can't get away with abusing it. Power cannot get away with abusing your rights if you're capturing it on camera. However, it just seems like we don't care anymore because the algorithms are just giving us so much content. It's like, okay, here's a video of a government abuse. Oh, here's a cat video. I'm moving on. There's so much noise out there. You'd think photos of abuses would cause structural change, but I'm not sure that it does.
Yeah. Well, I think one really great example has been during the ICE protests, and in Minnesota, it went from Big Brother watching us to Little Brother, as one expert told me, where people turn the tables on the government, on power. So that is a good thing. But yeah, now we've got artificial intelligence coming in. And, how do we sift through what's real and what's not real? And I think there's a lot of people out there that are believing some of this stuff. You just look even what happened in Puerto Vallarta. There were a lot of tourists that were terrified because there was a whole bunch of bots putting out fake AI images of the entire city of Puerto Vallarta on fire. Yeah. And yes, it was bad, but it wasn't nearly as bad as what was being portrayed in those early 24 hours.
And if you're not online and you have no digital footprint in the future, and maybe even now, that can look suspicious to authorities. Suppose you're not Canadian and you're not American. You live somewhere else in the world. You go to the embassy to apply for a visa. The guards can have tools that okay, type in a prompt to AI and tell me about this person's history online. And if it returns nothing, that now looks suspicious.
Oh yeah, it also looks like perhaps you might have changed your identity. Or it could be, or you're so sophisticated that you manage to scrub all information about you. So yeah, you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Well, Valerie Fortney is a Calgary-based veteran journalist. She's trying to be retired, but somehow the National Post got her to write an article called "It's the End of Personal Privacy. There's Nowhere to Hide Anymore." It's what we've been discussing, and you can check out the article to find out more. Valerie, it's been a joy having you on the show. Thanks for this discussion. I wish we had more time.
Yes, me too. Thanks so much.
Monster Energy. Everybody knows White Monster Zero Ultra. That's the OG. It kicked off this whole zero sugar energy drink thing. But Ultra is a whole lineup now. You've got Strawberry Dreams, Blue Hawaiian, Sunrise, and Vice Guava. And they all bring the Monster Energy punch. So if you've been living in the white can, branch out. Ultra's got a flavor for every vibe. And every single one is zero sugar. Tap the banner to learn more.